Can you guys hear me? Let me make sure I have this volume all the way up. Can you guys hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, good morning, good morning, good morning. And we will wait for a few of you guys to come on. I am super, super excited today. I'm fooling around with the camera. I'm sorry if you're getting a little drunk. Let me get it together. Okay, I think we're good. I think we are good. Oh, much better. Yes. Today, 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 today. All right. It is 7 a.m. Sorry, I had to get my pen. It is 7 a.m. And we're going to talk about. I'm waiting for some folks to come on. Show up, show up, show up. Let's see. Let's share this with a few. Okay, let's share this with a few folks. Okay, I'm back. I was just trying to share the live with a few people. So let me just chit chat with you guys. When I tell you this was a phenomenal week, um, it was a good week because I made. Let me tell you why this week was phenomenal. I had to be honest with myself and learn to say no. As a nurse, sometimes we try to fix everything. That's just our natural proclivity to want to fix and help. And I said, Adrian, you're on life support right now because you're feeling so overwhelmed. And my first priority is me, health wise, making sure that I'm good at my job. So mentally clear, focused, and then me. And I know people say, oh, it should be the other way around. But if I'm not good on my job, I need my job, my job, my job. And so clear my head because I do such strategic type things. I have to be clear to make decisions and to deal with a whole bunch of different personalities. So I made a decision that I would get rid of a lot of things that was not necessary. And 2 weeks ago, I started and I'm better. I even made a huge financial decision. And I want to share that with you guys too. Who is that on? I see we have someone. Identify, identify. When I say to you, your mental and physical well being, lovely, lovely, my Debbie, thank you. Good morning. When you when you do not when you do not take care of yourself mentally and emotionally, psychologically, and physically, spiritually, you can't drive but so much. When I say drive, I mean push yourself and push yourself. You need to pick a couple of things that you're going to try to master. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about mastering one good thing for 2024. Okay. And sometimes when you master the one thing, other things can come into play that would indirectly benefit you. So we're working on our budget for 2024. That's all we're trying to do is manage that budget. First of all, write it. And then in managing it, that means you'll say, oh, I put $25 on that. I really need to just put 20 and take the other $5 and do something else with it. So you will constantly keep molding and shaping that budget until it meets your family's household needs. It's not a cookie cutter, see what someone else do, because your money, your income, your bills are limited to you and your household. If you're in a partnership, it's just the two of you. So if he loses his job or you lose your job, there is a deficit. And so then we have to go back and rearrange it. We can't just stop. This is what I do sometimes when things are overwhelmed. I just stop and do nothing. But that's not progress. Because now you have to, you're going into traffic and everything's going wonderful. And all of a sudden someone comes and almost sideswipe you. So what do you initially do? You take your wheel and you pivot to the other side to keep from getting hit. Well, that's what you have to do with your budget. You have to pivot. You have to bob and weave, bob and weave, because those jabs are going to come at you. They're going to go up on your insurance. They're going to go up on your lights, your water. In California, they go up on everything. But how do you bob and weave to make it back right? That means you have to pull from one source to make way for another source. And it also means, number two, you have to pay attention to your bills. Open up your bills. Even if you have an automatic, go back to your email and they will send you, oh, in the next 30 days, we're going up 20% or whatever. So then you can plan for it. Don't have such a limited amount in your savings, your checking account, that when they pull something extra that you may not be aware of, that you're like, oh, fourth thing's going to bounce. And we talked about the overdraft protection. Make sure you have overdraft protection just for that, if nothing else, because you never know. And because we're on this fight and this trajectory to make sure our budget is good, we have to constantly, once a week, go back to our budget. Remember, we said pick a day, one day a week, that you go back and you look at your finances as a family. That means partnership, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate, whatever the situation is, you have to talk about it. Who's going to pay what and by when? How much? How often? Right? And what are those extenuating circumstances? Where is that extra money going to be? How are we hiding it? Okay. Do we have our emergency fund? So, on this journey of doing your budget for this year, this is the one thing that you're focusing on, your budget. But as we focus on our budget, the savings come into place. If we have emergency savings, how we spend comes into play, and any extra money that we have coming in comes to play. And we're talking about a calendar year from January to December. So we're only about 12, 13 days in, and we're going to reset and really focus on what is important for your budget. The first thing that's important is what? We have to write the budget. We have two more people on the line. Let's see who they are. Just getting that budget written. And that's what we have been doing, talking about the components of your budget. But I need you all to make a decision that the budget is going to be the only thing that you're focusing on. Because when you're having 20 things going on, if you get this budget right in the first 3 months of the year, the remaining 9 months will be fabulous, because at least you know where things are going, what you're doing with it, why you're doing it, and when to bob and weave, when to change it. So your one day a week you have identified as Wednesday. Wednesday was mine when I was doing my debt-free debt reduction, debt-free consumer, debt-free living back in 2020 to 2021. Wednesday was my day that I would go back and check everything out. Your money changed, you might have got more increase, or another bill came. So where are you going to get it from? So Wednesdays, one day a week for 30 minutes, just give yourself 30 minutes and go back and look what's coming up to be paid in the next week or that week, and what is kind of coming up the next week. So we are shielding ourselves. We're having a fortress of protection. Nothing is going to get out of control. Nothing is going to be a surprise because we have made our budget a fortress. Budgeting as a fortress. That's going to be the next series. Budgeting as a fortress. But that means that that budget is so tight. You have written down everything. You know the interest rates, when it's due, the minimum payments, and your strategy as to how you are going to make and get them paid. That's all you're focusing on for 2024. And in doing that, you will set goals like, I'm going to pay my first bill off in 3 months. And then you make that strategy of how you're going to do that. The next thing you'll do is say, how much, well, this is the first thing before debt reduction. How am I going to get money for this savings account? Because I need an emergency savings. Yes, you need emergency savings. So what are you going to do? I need some names in. Come on, let me see who you are. Don't leave Debbie by herself. What are you going to do? How are you going to get the money for savings? We need at least $500 to $1,000. 1,000 is really what we need. But if 500 is all you can come up with right now, let's figure out how. Focusing on one thing. Remember, I told you I had mental and physical issues because I was doing too much. And this is just like the 11th or 12th day. And I had to reset and I had to let some things go. And I made a decision. Now, people were upset, but it's okay. My health, my strength, and my mental fortitude. I have to be good so I can be excellent on my job. So lay aside every weight. Just get rid of those things. So that budget is your litmus test of how things are going in your family. You know, how are you going to do what you need to do with your household? That budget is everything. So as we go and we see that there's a lack or deficit, how are we going to make up for that? That is a strategic plan all in itself. So we have to become really, really good with our thought process and looking at everything we have. We just fillet it open. Everything we have, just like a fish, we just fillet it open. And those bones that we're taking out so we don't get choked is the strategy that we'll use to decide what is needed. And the bones are not needed. So all that extra fluff, the lattes, the eating out, the buying premature, not discriminating between a need and a want. And everything goes with time. You may need it, but is it at that exact moment that you need it? Is it? Is it at that exact moment that you need it? Delayed gratification, we identify those things as we're writing our budget because we made a decision a couple weeks ago to get rid of our Hulu and our Netflix, and we just use our Fire Stick. And remember, we found that $30. So it's those little things that you do, but everything is focused on the budget. Now, we have already sat down and talked to our spouse, and our spouse, he or she or them, are in agreement. What about our children? We need age appropriate allowances so we can teach them that this is all you have, just like your check. This is all you have. You got to work with it. Yes, your children. Honor your children by showing them that there's a deficit and mommy or daddy may not have done well, but they're making their mind up to do better. And now as a household, we're going to work together. Be humble and transparent with your children. Now, you don't want to stress them out and make them think the house is going to be, we're going to be evicted or something like that. But you want to let them know that things are changing and why. And they understand more. Break it down in the 5th grade education and they'll get it, okay? That's being true to yourself and your family. So we're not going to keep the lights on. We're not going to, if I give you some milk, you need to drink all of it. We're not going to be wasteful. We're going to put enough on our plate that we can eat it. If we want some more, then that's fine. But we're not going to waste it. Oh my God. I have family members that waste. So that's money going in the trash can. The only way I'll let it be exception if we feed the dog, at least, because some people give human stuff to the dog. But then it's not a waste, okay? But think about all the ways in which this budget, your focus, the budget for 2024 is the focus. Emergency fund, debt reduction, emergency fund, then debt reduction. So when you use the word emergency fund, that is some form of savings. Where are you going to save this money, and where is this money coming from? You already have done your budget, and you see clearly that there's a deficit. So you're like, how am I going to get a savings if I already have a deficit? We gave great examples over the last few weeks of decluttering. I promise you that I think about those $6,000 that I use on 3 months from September to December of the decluttering, just getting rid of things, okay? You'd be amazed of how much you have, but you have to be willing to let it go. And so now that you have your strategy for getting your $1,000, that same strategy you use, now we can go and start saying how we're going to get that deficit. Now let's be realistic. It's not realistic to try to get $1,000 when you're in a deficit, because as soon as you put that money in your savings, you're going to be pulling it back out. So let's at least have $200 in there while you're trying to get the deficit. So if you sold things out of your house, if you got a part-time job, if you worked overtime, those are the things that you will use to help you get rid of the deficit. And then you start building, because the deficit is real. That $2,000 debt that you have and $1,500 coming in, we need to find out how we can get that $500. So you're doing all these little things, and go back and look at some of the other videos of how we did that, how that strategy was. Once you do that, you're no longer in the deficit. Now you can really see your savings and go back and push that savings back up to the $1,000 or towards the $1,000. So that's the goal. Always remember, the deficits are real. You're only going to make so much money. Now, if you get a bonus, someone gives you something extra. Excuse me, I felt that sneeze coming on. Someone's going to give you something extra. Do whatever you need to do, but I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not trying to put my religious beliefs on you, but when you make up in your mind and you say, Lord, if you just, and when the money comes, you do whatever you said you was going to do. Just taking a moment and saying, I have a $500 deficit. Lord, show me. Get by yourself, get quiet, and make a confession of what you would do if you had that $500. What would you do? You would first get out your deficit. You would start on your emergency savings. Say that out loud. Have that conversation. Talk to your spouse. Talk to your children. Let's see what's important. And then watch miracles, signs, and wonders come. You're going to be so excited. You're going to say, if I can do it this time, I can do it another time. And that exuberance and that excitement is going to come because you start seeing your way. That's what's important. And then you're going to take the next step to the next debt reduction. And it's a wonderful game, but you have to stay in the game. You have to stay focused. All the players in your house, and we're tunnel vision. We're not worried about what's going on next door. We're not worried about what's going on next door with the Joneses, because we don't know what debts, what they have, but we know what's going on here, and we're going to focus. That stepwise progression, yes, you should be excited every time you make a new touchdown. You save some money for your emergency. You pay off a debt, or you reprioritize and start eating um, from your meals from home and not eating out. When you prioritize and say, I really don't need to go to that activity. That costs $60. I'm going to take that $60 and do this. And I'm going to spend that time at home with my family. You know, be creative, start talking to each other and get off the social media and have family night, family game night. And even if you watch a movie, you do it together as a family. Everybody snuggled up, watching, having the popcorn. You can make a fort in the middle of the floor. You know, your children just want to be with you. That's really it. So spending money outside sometimes is not necessarily them falling asleep on your chest. They just love that. Now you can't have breathe, but they love that. And you've had this big fort. You felt they fell asleep, and you wake up in the middle of the night and you got to put them in bed. But that's okay because free fun. That's right, David. That's free fun. Be creative. The things you did before you got this great job, when we was back in the projects, when we were in the trailer parks, when we were single parent homes struggling, whatever your thing was. And some of you have always had money, we just didn't manage it well. Go back to the time when you were managing it well. It's a little nostalgic though. This is the beginning of the year, and that budget is your focus. Let's do two things now. How are you going to stay on task with the budget? You are going to identify that one day a week that you will look at your budget and continue to strategize. You will start projecting what you said you were going to pay with the next paycheck and the paycheck that may be that next week, okay? That current week. Do those things. Pick your day of the week. My day was Wednesday. That's the day I would look. Look at what you have. Make sure that those automatic drafts align with what you have in the bank. If it doesn't, then you want to bob and weave. Or if you're doing the envelope system, make sure the money that you have in your envelopes match up with the bills that are going to be due in the next couple of days to the next week. You want to be ahead, because if you're looking and people don't open their mail, they don't look at their emails when they're giving updates and warnings. They don't look again at their budget. And so when surprises come and you don't have an automatic protection at your bank, things start bouncing. It's like $30 to $50 for fees. That's why I say take 30 minutes a week and just look at everything so you can say, I'm good, or I'm not good. And you have time to move money and do what you need to do. That's just a wonderful tip. Plus, let me be honest with you. We're so busy. Put on your phone, everybody has a phone, a reminder 30 minutes before you're supposed to sit. Okay? 30 minutes before you're supposed to do your Wednesday or whatever day you've identified. So you could start getting focused. Go ahead and finish up with the children. Let your husband, your wife know this is the time that we're supposed to go and get in a quiet place. Now, if you have a bunch of kids in a small space, we understand. Go in that bathroom. Somebody's sitting on the toilet, somebody's sitting on the floor. I'm telling you to do what you got to do. Somebody might even be in a bathtub, whatever the space you have. But we need a pad and a pencil, or we need our laptop. But once a week, this is what we're going to do. Desperate measures, desperate times calls for desperate measures. When you're that into it, you might be on a road trip. Somebody's driving. Somebody can pick. You might have a fast food napkin in the glove compartment. Just talk it through. I don't care, but you should protect that once a week time to focus. This is your life. This is your destiny. This is your future. This is your peace. This is your tranquility. Budgeting, having financial control over all that is near and dear to you. Your home, your car, your children, your clothes, your dwelling, and even your job. Because let me tell you, some of your jobs, if your credit is not good, I had a friend, He worked for Department of Defense, Department of Energy, excuse me. And his wife was bouncing checks. And he said, "Look, I told you, this is my job." They check because they think if you're short of money, you might sell secrets to people, you know. And so she wouldn't do right. She couldn't do right. The household money, he took over that account. Because if he lost his job, they would have nothing. And so she had her little account, but the bill money, he had total control of it. And she couldn't get to it. I know y'all say, "Oh, that's tough." But this guy was making a lot of money. And my friend, she just could not get, she was bouncing checks all day long because she couldn't get the concept. Now she's doing fabulous now, but it took her years. So think about, if we don't have a plan and a process, it could mess up. And after you bounce about 2 or 3 checks, you're talking about $90. That's almost $100 for your emergency fund. We just can't give money away all willy nilly. Every penny has a place. Every penny has a place. That's another mantra. Don't be trying to use mine. Every penny has a place. Every penny has a place. Where is that money going? Once a week, you set up a plan that you've already made, but you come together for 30 minutes one day a week. And this is your life. And you also know you have the visions and dreams of having a better car, or owning a home, or a better home in a better neighborhood. Being able to pay all your bills and sleep at night and not worry about flinching when that phone rings for the debt collectors, that's piece number one. That's goal number one. Yes. Yes. Being able to know you have that emergency fund if something happens. That's peace. Every penny has its place. Every penny has its place. But your future destiny is contingent on you getting this SHIT together. Get it together, girl. Get it together, boy. And sticking with your plan. So, I'm a realist. January, February, you're doing fabulous. You've paid off a couple of debts. You even have $700. You have your $1,000 in your emergency fund, and you're styling and profiling. Your taxes have been done, and Uncle Sam says you owe them $2,000. Where's the money coming from? Well, fortunately, we have 1,000. Where's the other 1,000 going to come from? That means you got to go back and rework your budget. You're going to be sad for a minute, but you were doing the snowball effect, so you were paying extra money to get to maybe bill number 3 that you were paying off. But this is April now, right? And Uncle Sam wants their money. And by the 15th, you got to report, Go ahead and try to realize that when you reallocate those resources, that's what that emergency fund is for. So you would have been $2,000 trying to figure it out. Now you're only 1,000. We're going to grab some overtime real quick. We're going to see who can loan us the money if we have that source. And then we're going to find a way to pay it back. But we're going to go into looking at all our resources. Everybody should have a checklist of things that they're willing to do or willing to come back and check. Because when you're desperate enough, you'll say, "I really don't need the cable," or "I really don't need that much cable," or "I really don't need all these extra things on my phone. $5 here, $10 here, $20 here, $30. I really am going to take my lunch every day now, not just, 2 days a week." So there's another $30 a week that you have. They say, get down with the get down, get down with the get down. That's what happens when you have to reallocate. That is why it is important for you to look at your budget weekly, coming up with a plan to strategize, because nothing's going to be linear. the same. You're going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. That's life. But you made it to April and you feel, oh, somebody just knocked you in the gut. Now Uncle Sam wants $2,000. Oh, really? Pick yourself up and realize, hey, I paid off 2 bills this year. I'm doing really well. I have $1,000 in my emergency savings. Okay. Take that 1,000 and at least have that, because that is 1,000 more that they're not putting. They're not going to put those penalties, tax, and interest on. All right. But you wanna show up with the 1,000 at least, and you have 15 more days, because remember, it's the first. Your tax person did it by the first or in March, but you have enough time to figure out how you're going to get as much of that money up as you can. I got a surprise for you. I got a $43 or $46 check from the IRS maybe 2 months ago, and it's from 2021 that I had overpaid. I actually owed them and I overpaid the overpayment, but I was glad. You would have thought I was so excited to have that little extra money to just be goofy with, because it was free money. And it was during the time that we had just finished up with our spending thing, but I was excited. So can you believe IRS? And I hurried up and deposited it. Yes. Now, blessings can come in all forms. But when your family realize that you've made a decision and you've been doing good for those 3 months, you'd be surprised how people will say, you've been doing good. Let me help you out. Here's $100. But however you do it, you have a good 6 to 8 weeks to try to figure out where that money is going to come from. But whatever you do with the IRS, do not send the money that you have. Show a good fourth effort, and then pick up the phone and maybe do a payment plan with them if you can't come up with the other $1,000. I'm telling you, it'll work out. And then you just add this as another bill and keep it pushing. It's okay. It's okay. Get back on track. That's what it's about. Yes. Don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. Don't feel defeated because things happen. Get back on that Wednesday or whatever your day is and get in the books and start deciding what you're going to do. That's how we do it. And 4 months from now, something else is going to come up. But open your mail. There's some bills and debts coming, but there are also some blessings. I got a $2,100 check about 2 weeks ago from some property that I sold, that they said they shouldn't have been charging me PMI, and they gave me extra money because it was interest and all that. I was very, very excited. $2,100 is a lot of money. So if I wouldn't open in my mail, I would not have known the blessing. So open your mail, look at what's coming in, and be blessed. And reprioritize. It's okay. That budget is meant to constantly work. Yes. And that's what the emergency fund is for, planning for surprises. That is a wonderful way to put it. Planning for surprises. Because it's like, peekaboo. That was a surprise. $2,000 to the IRS. Who would have thought it? None of us would have been ready for that. But we had our $1,000. So we were partially ready. That's what it's all about. Don't start waddling in self-pity and doubt and unbelief. Just stay faithful to the course. You got to ride it out. 12 months. We're riding it out. We're going to be accountability partners, and we're going to encourage each other. So you go back to your spouse, your partner, your children, your roommate, whoever that is, and we're going to say, things, got off with the IRS, but this is what we did to get back on course. He can work a day or two overtime. You work a day or two overtime. And within that month, you should be able to have that money or at least another $400 towards it. Because by the 15th, you want to be able to send that in and show your due diligence, And then when you get that bill that says, oh, well, you're remaining 600, this is how you're going to allocate it, because you're going to call and you're going to do a payment plan. But by then you should have a little bit more to send to them by the time you do that. So it's all good. I don't want you guys to think that life is roses when you start doing the budget. Your eyes will be illuminated because now you're actually looking at your bills on a weekly basis, and you're making decisions early. And living on a budget is dynamic. Yes, it's dynamic because you actually know what's going on. And those surprises that was coming before, they were really harming you because you didn't even know how much money you really brought in after your taxes, and you had no idea what date things were due. You just was living from day to day. Just no, now you have wisdom, knowledge, but above all, you have understanding. And your budget is your blueprint for your future. Some of you have said you want a new home, or you want a better home, or you want to move out of your trailer into a home. You want to move out of the projects into a home. You're budgeting now. The things you do now will predicate how and when you will be able to get these things. The sooner you learn how to manage your money, plan, stay within that budget, you become consumer debt free, and then we can start working on those other things. It's been 3 years for me, and I never thought that I would be this advanced. I went and I looked at my retirement. Oh, the money that's in there, I was just blown away. And that's from 3 years, these 3 years of just going hard, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. And then my finance guy was like, look at that. It just kept going up and up and up. It's amazing. Then I looked in my savings account. I was like, put another little, got me another little 12 year a thing going on in my high yield savings. It's just, and I didn't think I would be able to put anything in January because I did so much in December. But this is what we do. Some of you are working on your budget and trying to get control. It's some of us that have gone and we've made sure we had our emergency fund. We've paid off our debts. Now we're at this extreme savings. Yes, I have 6 months, 6 full months of household debt and some extra for the one rental. So I'm doing it. I'm doing it. But it's 3 years, 3 years, 3 years. My journey was different from yours, but you still have to forge ahead. Savings is your best friend. Monitoring what you're spending is your best friend. Reallocating, going back to your budget is your best friend. Getting your emergency fund, $1,000, is your best friend. Debt reduction with the snowball effect is your best friend. From one bill to the lowest to the next, and just pay off. Just take all that extra money and put on the next debt and put on the next debt. And every time you get something extra, just put it on that debt. And it's like a game. It's like, oh, we got another $200. And I get excited. When I get extra $200, I'm like, oh, I'm finna go put this over here, my high yield. Like, I'm all about saving. Because if you get it out of your hand and you get the access away, it's like an addict. Get it away, and put it in a safe place so you won't even come up with something. Because you'll figure it out. If the money's not there, you'll figure it out. All right? You'll figure it out. I just want you to know that 2024 is focused on your budget. That means your savings, your debt reduction, and planning how you will spend every penny of your money. Every penny has a place. Where is it going? In your home, everything should have a place. And if you don't have room for it, that means it's declutter time. Get rid of it, get rid of it. So you can have peace and tranquility. Do we have any questions? Yes, planning for your taxes, Debbie, is very, very important. First of all, if you're doing your deductions right, you really should not, well, excuse me, most people get these big tax breaks, tax refunds at the end of the year. And I'm like, what are they deducting? Like, what are they doing? If that is your savings plan, fine. But when you get it, what do you do with it? Why not get your money all during the 12 months and let you divide that up and use it, or put it in your emergency fund in a high yield savings? At least you're getting making money off of it and just letting Uncle Sam just hold on to it. So make some decisions. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this money? So at the first of the year, well, I always do this in December, I reallocate whatever the government says that I can put for my retirement, the max. Then I go and I configure it and I divide it. So now I'm doing 1150, 9 on traditional, and 250 on Roth per pay period. That's the way I'm going to get my 30,000 for the year. I don't think about it. And then if I have to eat beans and weenies for the rest of the pay period, I don't care. And I'm just exaggerating. But when you purge forth and put that money, get it away, it never even comes to me. It never comes to me. And remember, I'm saving that $200 a pay period so I can go to where am I going? I'm going to the Super Bowl in 2025 because it's here in California. It goes into allotment, comes out of my check, goes into allotment. I don't even get my hands on it. So I'm telling you, well, then I take and put in the high yield in that account, but I don't get a chance to decide where I want to put it. It is out there for my goals. Now, I want you to realize that it's going to be days when you're going to be able to say, oh, we put $500 away for our down payment for our home. That means that you've paid off everything. There's my friend. Oh, my little munchkin, Becky Boo, Becky Boo. Debbie, Becky brought you some company today. Love you, Becky Boo. But what happens is you're so excited because you have emergency fund, you've paid off all your consumer debt, and now you're saving. You're saving for your house. That's the best feeling. I don't care if it's $5. You've got to keep that vision alive. You got to have something burning in your soul that makes you get up and go to work, that makes you feel like, I got to get up. I got to do this. Now, I'm going to share this. This is all that I'm going to say on budgeting. I want you to budget with a purpose. Every place has a penny. That's what Debbie and I have come up with today. Every place should have a penny. Every penny should have a place. That's it. Every penny should have a place. And also, 24 is your focus on budgeting, your savings, your debt reduction, and your future goals. That is what. And once a week, you're going to take 30 minutes and you're going to look at those bills, all your bills. You're going to look what's coming in the account, what's coming in from your job. Do not start writing checks that you can't validate. Make sure your direct deposit hits. I always tell people, make sure that money is there, or you have that extra money in that account as your buffer, and then you can do that. All right, because you know the other money is coming. And always make sure your money hit the bank. I've had people that something happened with payroll and their money wasn't there, and all these things are just coming in automatic. That's what that one day a week, you, your spouse, your husband, your children, one day a week, 30 minutes. I don't care where you are. Set that clock on your phone 30 minutes ahead to remind you. Turn the TV off, social media. We're focusing 30 minutes on our bills. When you start doing that, you'll start saying, look, I'm tired of this. I need to come up with something better and reprioritize. So this is what I thank you for being consistent. This is week 4 of budgeting. I want to say this. I'm shifting, and I need you guys to hear me. And I'm going to be transparent, and I hope I don't cry. This new year has been tough for me. Emotionally, I have been up and down, tearful, overwhelmed. And I thought about Taraji P. Henson. She says, you got to dial up a friend. You got to tell somebody. People think I'm so strong, but I hurt and I bleed just like the next one. And so what I had to do was realize I had too much on me. And I made a decision. I stopped with the teaching at the college. It was physically and mentally, it was too much. In addition to all the other things that I had. And even though I was doing that as pro bono, it was too much and psychologically. And I have a really good job, but it's very taxing. And I need my mind right for job. That's where my bread and butter coming from. And also just doing things for people that I just have to say no. So when people call me, I don't let them bring all their mess. I give them 15 minutes. But all their stress was on me. 2024. And I'm going to tell you why I believe I was going through. We made a big stride. We got 90 people in the last 3 weeks. We're making an impact. 90 subscribers in 28 days. Yes, 90. That's a lot of people. So the enemy is not happy that we're empowering people to take control of their financial future. So I was attacked. Then my property in Missouri, the people have just gone nuts. So I make a decision. I'm selling it. I'm not going to let anything stress me out. I did contact a property manager, but I just thought about it. I was like, I don't need this. I got a lot of money in it. I'll get that money out. I'll invest it. I'll be good. I'll make money. But the property in Augusta, no, those people are just lovely. I love my guys, my men, my men. And I'm so cool with letting it go. That's when I know that the Bible says, lay aside every weight. Yes, I could go ahead and hire the property managers, but I want to let it go and get that money and be ready for the end of the year for that big deal that I'm getting ready to be partake of. So it's okay. But these are the things that had me, it was too much. And so when you're like that, you're just like, ugh. And it becomes a lot of anxiety, restless nights, overeating, not eating, just feeling blah, up and down, up and down. And the weather's cold, it's rainy here, it gets dark early. And so that beautiful sunny weather, I was going through. And God sent me to my one friend, she prayed me through. And then my other friend texted me, prayed me through. And then another friend didn't even know about it. She called and she talked me through. And I'm good. But they keep checking on me. That's what you need to do. So when you're going through diverse temptations, when you're stressed, no matter how strong you are, dial a friend, get some help. Your mental, physical, and emotionally, you gotta get it together. So that's what I did. I made a decision. And I'm not letting anybody do anything extra. When I'm on the phone with people and they just all over the place, no, I need peace. I'll say, can I call you back? And then I get myself together. But make sure your home is decluttered and you're in a space that is peace. When you walk in your home, it's peaceful. That's the one place. Even your car. My car was a little junky. I had to clean it out the other day. And it just was some clothes and things that I had in there, coats and, So have it peaceful. Everything should be peaceful. And while you're sitting around trying to figure out what you're going to pay and how you're going to spend, in the meantime, the most cathartic thing is exercise and cleaning up. While you're trying to figure out where you're going to find money and do things, go out and just clean your car out. Just take one trash bag for trash and one trash bag for stuff. So all the things that shouldn't be in the car, you put it in that bag, and all the trash you put in that. And the next thing you know, you're wiping it down with some little handy wipes. You do a quick little vacuum and you feel like, okay, I can just at least sit in my car and put you one of those little smell goods. And if you don't have money for the smell good, take a cotton ball in your ashtray, because none of you smoke, and put a cotton ball with some essential oil and stick it in that not trash can, in your ashtray, and open it up just a teeny little bit, and that smell, let your windows up, and that smell will be there and be aromatic. or drop a few drops of the essential oil on the mats after you vacuum them on the mats, and it'll just be good. See, budget, you're balling on a budget. That's what we do. We have to find ways. They'll say, "Oh, go buy the little $1.50 thing." Well, you might not have the money for the $1.50 thing, but in the meantime, just put some little essential oil there, and your car will smell so good. Little peppermint, some lavender, chamomile, something. But that's what you do. And while you're doing that, because let me tell you what happens in our mind. We get so stressed because we can't fix it all, but fix the one thing. Fix the garage, clean that out, fix the car, do the one thing that you have control over, and turn your music on, or an audible book, or if you're talking to a friend, like that's what we do. She'll say, "Okay, I need 30 minutes." And I'll say, "Okay, girl." And I'll be so guilty because I'm like, okay, she's up doing something. I'm comfortable. So then I'll get up and do something. So that's what we do. Or while if you want to exercise, clean up all them squatting. You got to get those baseballs. You got to get at the top, and then also start seeing what's going on in your house, making sure that if you need to repair anything. So take that energy and don't just sit and eat. Stay busy. You remember I have the treadmill. I've done 3 days this week. I did the treadmill 3 days this week. So today will be my 4th day. So 4 out of 7 is really good. I could have done more, but I was reprioritizing at some goals and making sure things are good. I have something I have to say, but I can't tell you everything. Those things that I did not do in 2023, I have rearranged my life, and they're happening. In the next 2 months, you're going to see something really big from me. I just finally got the help that I needed to just make some things just push through. So I'm going to burst that babe in the next 2 months. Let me tell you, your mental health, and I know I probably shouldn't be sharing all of this, but this is real. Y'all need to know that I'm financially, debt free. I have no finance, but I'm letting other stuff. And when you're financially set, you should be walking around, hey, but don't put those extra pressures. Don't say you're going to do something in 2 weeks when you know it might take you three weeks or a month. Set a longer date so if you do it, but it'll stress you out. And put your goals on your mirror, on your refrigerator, on every part of your house. So you can see it first thing in the morning and you can see it in the evening. But if nothing else, budgeting 2024 is your purpose, because it's going to change your life. It's going to change your destiny, the trajectory of how you think about money, how you manage your money, and how you allow people to conduct themselves when it comes to your money. That's what 2024 is. Budgeting your money, making sure that you plan for surprises, and that you know that every penny has a place on your budget. Have a wonderful day. Your mental, physical, psychological, financial, and spiritual health is important. It is important. 2024, do not let people just overwhelm you. Do not allow yourself to be overwhelmed. If you can help your kids out, help them out. But if you can't, you have to say no, not this time. One day a week, you need to be soaking your feet or going somewhere and let somebody soak your feet. But soak your feet, get in a tub, do a facial. Every Saturday I do a facial because I just want to look good for you guys. But do something to make yourself feel good about you. And it doesn't have to cost. Love you. Mwah. Have a wonderful week.